Welcome, everyone. Today we're diving into the Pragmatic Architect's Guide to Rust, a topic designed to offer a truly objective framework. Our goal here is to help you systematically evaluate key considerations like ecosystem costs, the gravity of maintenance, and ultimately the architectural fit of Rust within your organization. This presentation is intended as a crucial reality check, specifically tailored for CTOs and engineering VPs who are navigating strategic technology decisions. Think of it as a blueprint for building a resilient software future. If Amazon, Cloudflare, Google, Meta, and Discord are migrating to Rust, shouldn't we follow them? This question lies at the heart of what we call the big tech fallacy. While it's true that major players in the industry are increasingly adopting Rust for its performance and safety benefits, the short answer for most organizations is a definitive no. The critical caveat here is that unless your team is already comprised of Rust experts, adopting the language simply to mimic big tech's choices can be a significant strategic trap. Their motivations, resources, and existing expertise differ vastly from those of smaller or less specialized teams, and what works for them may introduce unnecessary complexity and challenges for yours. Examining the disconnect between aspiration and practical application, this slide presents the intriguing case of Rust in the engineering ecosystem. For 10 consecutive years, Rust has been celebrated as Stack Overflow's most desired and admired language, reflecting a profound 90% aspiration among developers. Yet, despite this overwhelming admiration, its real-world application paints a different picture. Rust ranks as only the 14th most used programming language, representing a modest 15% of overall usage. This notable gap positions Rust as the metaverse of programming languages, heavily discussed, widely admired, but in daily practice inhabited by a select few. The three hidden costs of adoption are clearly illustrated on this slide, representing critical challenges that can undermine the benefits of new technology. We see them depicted as foundational pillars. First, the async-sync schism, which translates into significant ecosystem fragmentation, often forcing developers to contend with incompatible libraries or paradigms depending on their chosen concurrency model. Next, we encounter maintenance gravity, a concept that highlights the inherent project decay over time, where accumulated technical debt and the sheer effort required to keep a system running can drag down progress. Finally, the third pillar points to the anemic standard library, a common issue that often necessitates pulling in numerous external dependencies, thereby introducing substantial supply chain risk. This overall architecture suggests that while Rust's compiler-enforced correctness promises efficiency and saves time in execution, its currently fractured ecosystem paradoxically extracts a massive toll in ongoing maintenance and busy work, ultimately impacting the very productivity it aims to enhance. The async schism and ecosystem fragmentation represents a critical challenge for Rust Project I/O. As shown here, Rust Project I/O can diverge into two distinct paths: the sync ecosystem or the async ecosystem. When interacting with the sync ecosystem, mixing blocking functions with asynchronous code introduces significant risks, primarily leading to denial of service vulnerabilities due to blocking operations on non-blocking threads. Conversely, engaging with the async ecosystem while offering performance benefits brings its own set of hurdles. Multiple asynchronous runtimes exist, each with its own specific implementation. Integrating across these various runtimes, or even between async and sync components, demands substantial manual wrapper busy work. This fundamental incompatibility between synchronous and asynchronous runtimes creates hard-to-debug performance inconsistencies and introduces denial of service risks. Consequently, development teams are compelled to dedicate excessive time and effort to writing manual wrappers, enabling synchronous code to be invoked by asynchronous code. This often inadvertently breaks fundamental assumptions about lifetimes and ownership, further complicating development and increasing potential for subtle bugs. The title of this slide, Maintenance Gravity and Project Decay, directly addresses a critical challenge in software development, particularly when selecting programming languages as foundational platforms. Observing the timelines for Rust and Go, spanning from January 2020 to May 2026, we see a pronounced difference in their release and evolution patterns. Rust, depicted by the upper timeline, has accrued a remarkable 7,500 lines of changelog and numerous language additions over this period. This rapid evolution, while potentially offering new features and improvements, inherently forces teams to constantly update their toolchains, Docker files, and dependencies. As the text below emphasizes, this constitutes busy work that delivers zero business value, diverting resources from core development. Conversely, Go, represented by the lower timeline, showcases a significantly more stable release cadence, aligning with what we see in more mature ecosystems like Node.js with its 12 releases or Python with its 5 releases. This comparative stability translates into less maintenance burden, allowing teams using Go to dedicate their efforts to innovation and direct business value creation, rather than continually adapting to an evolving language platform. The inherent complexities of modern software development, particularly in languages like Rust, often lead to what we term the standard library supply chain nightmare. Rust, while powerful, increasingly relies on an extended standard library, encompassing crucial crates like Tokyo, Hyper, and regex. This expansion, however, brings its own set of challenges. The diagram vividly illustrates how a seemingly small project can quickly become entangled in a dense web of dependencies. This complexity is particularly pronounced for essential tools such as cryptography, where fragmentation is rampant. In a stark example, one small project was forced to incorporate no fewer than 5 different cryptographic libraries. This wasn't by choice, but due to unavoidable dependency conflicts within its ecosystem. The critical consequence of this fragmentation is the creation of an unauditable attack surface, significantly increasing security risks and making it exceptionally difficult to verify the integrity and security of the entire codebase. Comparing Rust and Go as platforms across critical dimensions reveals distinct philosophies and trade-offs. Starting with core philosophy, Rust emphasizes advanced theory and correctness, while Go prioritizes engineering simplicity. Regarding their standard libraries, Rust's is characterized as anemic and externalized, a notable contrast to Go's batteries included and expert audited approach. In terms of release velocity, Rust exhibits high churn with aggressive 6-week cycles, whereas Go maintains a more stable and slow-moving pace. When we examine resource footprint, Rust stands out for its zero-cost abstractions and absolute control, in comparison to Go's garbage collector overhead and binary bloat. Ultimately, maintaining Rust codebases inevitably requires more resources than Go, which currently serves as the gold standard for standard backend services. Redefining the domain, specifically looking at replacing C, C++, is a critical discussion as we consider the resource versus control spectrum in software development. This spectrum illustrates the trade-offs we make when choosing programming languages. On the left side, we prioritize developer velocity and high abstraction with languages like Python and Node.js. These are excellent choices for rapid prototyping and applications where time to market and ease of development outweigh raw performance needs. Moving towards the center, we find languages such as Go and Java, which are well suited for general backend services. They strike a balance, offering good performance without the extreme complexities of lower-level programming. At the far right, highlighted on this slide, is the domain of maximum control and zero-cost abstractions, traditionally the stronghold of C and C++. This is where languages allow direct manipulation of system resources, providing fine-grained control over hardware. Rust has emerged as a powerful contender in this space. It's important to recognize that Rust's immense learning curve and maintenance costs are entirely justified in very specific contexts. These include scenarios where you absolutely need to interface directly with the operating system, where squeezing out every microsecond of performance is critical, or where guaranteeing memory safety is a non-negotiable requirement for the application's reliability and security. Domain 1 focuses on the cross-platform core, illustrating how a single Rust shared library can efficiently serve multiple platforms. As depicted in the diagram, a Rust core shared library acts as the central engine, distributing its capabilities via circuit-like connections to target distinct environments: mobile devices, represented by the smartphone, server and desktop applications, indicated by the server rack, and web applications, leveraging WebAssembly for browser-based execution. This powerful approach is already adopted by major players like WhatsApp, Signal, and Proton. Rust stands out as the sole memory-safe programming language equipped with a modern package manager, enabling seamless targeting of mobile, desktop, server, and web platforms. Ultimately, this significantly reduces the cost associated with the traditionally expensive process of cross-platform development.
Domain 2 delves into systems, micro-VMs, and embedded IoT, highlighting a significant shift in computing paradigms. Focusing on systems, these advancements are ideal for background daemons and cloud infrastructure, particularly with solutions like AWS Firecracker micro-VMs. The primary advantages lie in their vastly lower resource consumption and zero binary bloat, which drive efficiency in modern cloud environments. Turning to embedded systems, we are seeing a revolution in IoT security. The development process has been greatly simplified, allowing for the compilation and execution of Rust on modern chips, such as the ESP32C6, with just 2 commands. This ease of use is largely attributed to the maturity of hardware abstraction layers, or HALs, which provide robust underlying support.
Domain 3 delves into the critical area of extreme scale in high-performance databases. As the exponential graph illustrates, reaching the highest levels of performance demands an incredibly fine-grained approach, often requiring microsecond tuning. The magnifying glass highlights this precision, where every detail of execution and resource management is paramount. This level of optimization is essential if you are serving over 50 million requests per second, similar to operations like Cloudflare, or if you are architecting next-generation databases. In these high-stakes scenarios, Rust's robust type system and its zero-cost tuning capabilities, exemplified by memory allocators like JMalloc that efficiently manage memory fragmentation, provide a significant advantage, compensating for any perceived slower ecosystem speed and enabling truly high-performance solutions. This decision tree guides whether to adopt Rust for your project, beginning with the question, are you building? If your project involves a system daemon, embedded IoT, or an extreme-scale database, the recommendation is a clear yes, use Rust. Alternatively, if you are developing a standard backend service or API, the decision hinges on your team's expertise. Specifically, if you have a team of existing Rust experts, then Rust is the recommended choice. However, if your team lacks existing Rust experts for such projects, the suggested languages are Go, Node, or Python. Integrating Rust into your engineering team brings a distinct set of advantages, primarily categorized into 3 core areas. First, it enables extreme performance, exemplified by capabilities like SIMD programming written entirely in pure Rust, offering significant computational speedups. Next, Rust provides a powerful foundation for building modern backends. This includes architectural approaches leveraging frameworks such as Axum, robust database interactions with SQLX, and sophisticated Postgres architectures, delivering reliability and efficiency. Finally, Rust excels in security and crypto applications. Its memory safety guarantees and robust type system are invaluable for developing applied cryptography and designing resilient defensive systems, mitigating common vulnerabilities. For teams ready to truly invest in Rust, mastering the language means moving well beyond basic syntax. The focus shifts to applied architecture, understanding how to effectively manage traits, designing ownership models for maximum safety and correctness, and proficiently utilizing no-stand environments for critical, resource-constrained applications. Many of these advanced practical approaches can be found referenced in works like Black Hat Rust.